From Clearwater, Florida. Instead of coming to see you, we're sending a message via this tape. Okay? This is a message to your York folks up there in the snow belt, where you're sitting here in the sunny south. Not so sunny today because we are having a cloudy, a little drizzle, much needed rain. Yes, this is a tape that we got from Naomi and Leon, which you possibly played first. If not, you can turn it on the other side and you'll find it's a message to Grandma and Grandpa in Clearwater. So we're taking this chance now and putting it on the other side and sending it back to you first, and then you can in turn send it back to Leon and Naomi again. We have your letter today, and by the way, Ernest, Clyde Foder's shedding on that picture there, but you didn't win. Well, you didn't electioneer enough, more than likely. Better luck next time. Glad to hear about the boys. Yeah, what about that pencil salesman? Good for him. How about that choir boy? Billy Graham's looking for good choir boys, so the boys better keep on practicing up there. How about that? This is about 2:30 in the afternoon now, on the Tuesday afternoon, and we're just thinking about our walk for tonight. If it's raining, I guess we can't take our walk. We have to just parade around the house and get our exercise. This all might come as a surprise to you, but believe it or not, Grandma and I went to see a baseball game on Friday afternoon. The Phillies played the Yankees. Quite an interesting game. And believe it or not, we had some TV stars sitting right behind us. The little red-headed boy from Flipper and Car 54, Where Are You? Sitting right behind us, of course, naturally with police escort on each side, but they were quite talkative and quite jovial there. A lot of people came in there to get their autograph, and a lot of excitement there. To make it a complete weekend, then, of course, on Saturday, Arlene and Willard had their wedding anniversary, their 34th wedding anniversary, I believe. So we went out to the Dutch Pantry and had a nice dinner there, and then came back and spent the evening at the house. Sunday, nothing unusual, just the usual routine, go to church, send them home, eat lunch, and go for a little ride in the afternoon. No company at the house, which was quite something. We're getting ready a rather unique letter we're sending to you. In there I mentioned about this Mr. Huffman from York, who you know about, I guess, the great weightlifter. He's quite a man for physical fitness, and I think it'd be interesting for you to get acquainted with him. Because after all, you boys need some good muscles, don't you? I suppose I must say we had a very fortunate ending of 1965 and a good beginning of 1966. A lot of guests, no dull moments. A lot of work to do on the outside, cleaning up, planting, weeding, spraying, watering, and everything else to it, from early morning to late at night. Outside a little rest in the afternoon and a walk in the evening. I'm sure you could use some of the radishes and the endive and the lettuce and the parsley and the cabbage that we have, carrots that we have here. They're really nice and crisp. No, there's nothing unusual. We did it again. Went over to Fritz's Meat Market and bought an 11-pound rump roast, rolled rump, and made it for the two of us. We cut part of it off for steak, which is always a very good part. The end part makes a very nice steak, about 1.25 inches thick. And the rest we roasted on the rare side and cut it with a fork. Very good. We were just about to sit down and eat when Mr. Clemens came in, so we asked him to sit down, and he, too, enjoyed it very much. So you can see that we're living off the fat of the hog right now, but we call it steer meat. One thing we do miss down here, we wish we had some of those York apples again. Those that you sent down with the oats were good, and they didn't keep too well for some reason or other. They disappeared so fast out of the refrigerator, but they were good as long as they were lasted. We were fortunate, though, when Mr. Sigler from Bethel came down. He brought a bushel along for us, and that was just finished up a few days ago. So we have to buy our apples again, and they're about 12, 15 cents a pound. So it's really a luxury down here. We eat grapefruit and oranges, but apples really taste good. By the way, he just gave us another gallon of honey, which keeps Grandma sweet for a while with her cereal. Talk about dull moments. There isn't many dull moments around here. And always have something to look forward to. 9 the letter is Grace Road, coming down after the 10th of June. We're looking forward to that. and doing a lot of planning. You have the fish poles all ready and the sandbox all ready, the buckets and the nets all ready to go crabbing and go for clams and oysters. And believe it or not, the freezer's also full of oranges and grapefruit and papayas and fish and meat, what have you. We're pretty well stocked in that end. Before I forget it, this is just a matter of suggestion. If you want to erase the other side and just send a message up to Leon and Naomi and the boys, if you have a recorder there, I know they'll appreciate hearing from you. Maybe I should let Grandma come on here and say something. I don't know what she has to say, but usually, women can talk, and I'll give her a chance to say her few words now. All right, go ahead.
This is Grandma. I'm just about ready to start on my Easter dress. I hope I'll get it finished by then. And I'm going to be Scotch. I won't buy a hat until about 2 days before Easter. It gets reduced in that time. I hate to pay $10, $12 for a hat. I also needed a new pair of shoes. Grandpa got himself a beautiful sport coat, so I'll have to be dressed up for Easter, too. I'm very proud of our gladiolas we have. We have about 10 spikes of beautiful red gladiolas. Our daisies are blooming beautifully, as well as some other flowers. Oh,
Hold it. Now.
We usually have a big salad for lunch, and Dad has some meat with it. It keeps us busy trying to eat up all our vegetables. We have vegetables twice a day. Grace, you really taught us how to eat Swiss chard. We give out a lot of it away. People starting to like it, too. We love it. Congratulations, Ernie, on your wonderful picture that you sent us. Also, congratulations on your smoking, that you can quit. Dad is still struggling with it. He has to do something for pastime, so I guess it's the pipe. The next time it's a cigar, and once in a while a cigarette. I sure hope Naomi and Leon will send us a picture of Susie with the coat and hat that I made for her. I'd like to see her in it. I think this is about all now. I'll change over to Dad.
Naomi told us that she has quite a bit of problem with ants around the house coming in through the doors and windows. This time of the year, I can't understand where they come from. But if you can get the 75% chlorine and make a solution and just wet along the outside of the wall of the house, all around the house saturated well, I'd say around the house it'd take about 25-30 gallon of mixture. It only takes a tablespoonful of 75% chlorine into a gallon of water, and pour that around the house, and then, of course, that stops all the insects from coming in. It won't be too bad. There's some danger connected to it if you spread it too thick all around the house, but if you just put it close to the wall and let it soak down, even dig little trenches along the side and then cover it up again, and it won't be so dangerous. It actually isn't any more dangerous than 5% chlorine dust that you put around the house, which lays on top of the soil, because chlorine is quite vicious, quite a killer. But saturating it around the side of the house usually answers the whole problem. We had Leon's report on his mother's leg and foot, which he has quite a time with these weeping sores. And from what he tells us now, that there's next thing to gangrene, and she might lose some toes, which is unfortunate. I'm going to suggest to Naomi and Leon that they take that thermocyclopad down there, and his mother use it under her legs on the bed for at least 25 minutes at a time, and about 2 or 3 times a day to increase that circulation in the legs. There can't be any harm come out of it. It can only do one thing, and that is help. There's hardly anything else that'll help to increase the circulation any more than cyclomassage. Optional, they can turn on a little heat if they want to. It depends on the patient themselves. Very often we say you're getting help through medication, but in most cases it's artificial exercise that does more for elimination and stimulates circulation than anything else. We had an unusual year this year, and as far as colds was concerned, Mother and I never had a touch of a cold all winter. We give credit to the vitamin C that we're taking, that acerola and rosehip vitamin C, which is just like a little pill or a little lozenge that you chew up. Tastes very pleasant, and it's a terrific cold preventative and infection preventative. That's one thing that this man Huffman in York is so famous for, too, all these different additives, not the medicine, but an extra supplement for the menu to give you the extra sip that you need and to fight off these colds and what have you.
Till midnight, until midnight tonight. By the way, at 10:55 this evening, we have a ball game. Chicago White Sox at 10:55 on WDAE AM.
Range for activity that'll keep you busy from early morning to late at night. It is tape for you to record on if you care to, then you don't have to erase anything to send on to Boston. In the meantime, keep smiling and keep up the good work. Keep your daddy and mommy busy and yourself well occupied. Okay, boys? We'll be looking forward to seeing you. Goodbye and God bless you.
This is Sunday, August 7th, 1966. It'll be interesting to hear how this records because we're actually seated out around the fireplace in our yard at 3205 Eastern Boulevard. And we've got two special guests with us today. Who are they, John?
I forget.
John's up to his usual naughtiness, but Grandma and Pap are here. And I see some of our neighbors have just walked in, so we've got quite a gathering. I just got a shock off this microphone since I'm standing on grass and bare feet. We were all very happy when Grandma and Pap arrived on Friday evening. They arrived to an empty house, however, since Grace and the boys had been up in New Tripoli visiting with Grandma Fisher, and I had just left the house on the way to New Tripoli to get them. So they spent the evening here by themselves, went out and did some shopping, and Pap bought half a cow so that we had enough to eat when we got back. We just enjoyed a 2-inch steak that more than satisfied everyone. Here's John doing some acrobatics to get to the microphone. He's about to do something. Here's John.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I'm reduced to say something very funny. Yeah!
Well, let's question how funny that was, but at least he had the courage to say something. Grandma and Pap are going to be leaving tomorrow morning. At the end of this week, our family is leaving on a week's vacation, as we understand you are. We're going out to camp life again for 1 week in the western part of the state, which we enjoyed so very much last year. We trust that Grandma and Pap will get up there in good time and maybe even be able to take care of Susan while you go on vacation. Following our delightful 2 weeks in Florida, we came back to a very busy summer. We had 2 boys in Little League this year. Tommy played the outfield, and they made a catcher out of David, so he saw a lot of action this year and got knocked head over tin cup several times as he made plays at the plate. But they both had a league in our year, rather.
Honestly, in non-serious, John, Paul Ferry's playing like, Mom, where you were this week and what you going to do next week?
Hello, this is that one. Hi, everyone. This is Tom. I passed, and I'm going into 4th grade, and I'll be bus safety. This year in Little League, I only got 1 hit, and the two of them, which is second baseman, was one. The second baseman stopped, and the other went right through him. And the others I struck out, and I walked once. David and I took swimming lessons at Pleasureville Pool, and 2 times a week we went, from 9 to 11. We went to camp at Camp Friendly Anchors for 2 weeks, and we were going to Camp Sequanota after Bible school, which starts tomorrow. At swimming lessons, I learned to swim better on my back and on my stomach. We did a lot some other things. We on one Saturday after the last swimming lesson, we came for our diplomas. I had 2 more things checked off than David. My other uncle Arlen, came back from Vietnam, and they are moving from Petersburg, Virginia, to Alexandria.
Hello, everybody. This is Auntie Grace. We've certainly enjoyed hearing from all of you. I'm sure you want to get near the entertainment from this end. We were surprised to hear of Pap and Grandma coming up and are delighted with their visit. Of course, as you know, we're eating constantly. I don't know who's on what diet. It's been very dry here this summer. In fact, we're drinking quarry water right now. We have been limited to no watering of plants or using the hose in any way. The reason I stopped so abruptly was a shock I was getting constantly from the washcloth in one hand and standing in the wet grass, which I think Ernie wasted a glass of water on. We have had a very busy summer. The boys, as you know, have been in Little League. They have been continuing their piano lessons. I can't think of why we've had such a heavy schedule, but it's been tremendous. We've had swimming lessons, and they have learned to float, I think, and really have been doing quite well. We are going to go to camp next week, which will be Mother's Vacation. And Bible school this week. The boys have been to day camp for 2 weeks, so that meant washing and ironing each night for the next day because they went through so many outfits.
Seems Grace couldn't stand taking the shock any longer, so she's handed the microphone to me. This seems to be a real fine idea, this tape recorder bit, because when you look back at the number of letters that we have failed to write to you, and I suppose vice versa, this is a real simple and enjoyable way of communicating with one another. We were very anxious to learn from Mother and Dad how you, Leon, are making out in your new company. Things aren't really much different here, except for the fact that there's more demand than ever for our product, and as people frequently say, why do you need a salesman to sell electricity? And with all the services we have to run, I sometimes wonder the same thing, although like most salesmen occasionally do, they goof off, and you've got a problem with supervision and making sure that everyone's putting forth the effort they should be. But we're very happy to learn that you are going to be able to get away for a week, and that it must have been one of the things that inspired Mother and Dad to change their mind and come up here, because just a week or 2 ago the Nailers called and said they were unable to contact Mother and Dad by telephone, and they assumed they were up here, and we informed them then, why no, they didn't plan to be up here this summer at all. And here they are, and both looking so well. Since you have last seen us, we had the misfortune of losing our dog. As attached as everyone was to her, why, it was quite a blow, but she never did get over the habit of chasing rabbits or squirrels, and one night she took off after one and ran across the street, and this was after darkness had settled in, and she was struck by a car, and she finally found her way home several hours later, and we left her at the vet's overnight, but she was very badly cut up, didn't have the use of one front leg, and we decided the humane thing to do was to have her put to sleep.